Hello and welcome to HelpYourMath.com. In today's example, we're going to be doing problem number 3 in the Accuplacer of college level mathematics. Question 3 says if 3x squared minus 2x plus 7 are equivalent to 0, then x minus 1/3 in parentheses squared is equivalent to what value? Now here we see that the solution system is a very particular one. In fact, this is the result of completing the square. And so what we're going to do with this problem to get to this solution, so we can have the solution to this as an answer, is we're going to complete the square. And so to complete the square, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to isolate this x squared term, and we're also going to have the perfect square of the x squared and the x term on the left side while the numbers are on the right side. So to begin this, the first step is going to be to isolate the x's on the left. So we're going to have 3x squared minus 2x plus 7 equivalent to 0, and we're going to move this 7 over by subtracting 7 to both sides. We're going to be left with 3x squared minus 2x's equivalent to negative 7. Now the second step in this is to get rid of the leading term, the leading coefficient of the x squared variable. And so to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to factor out a 3 from both of these terms. Now when I factor out a 3, what I'm actually doing is I'm dividing these two terms by 3 while multiplying by a 3. And so I'm going to have 3. This is going to be multiplying by x squared. Once I divide 3x squared by 3, I get this. And when I divide the second term by 3, I get negative 2/3 of x. And this is now equivalent to negative 7. And so the next step then is to get rid of this 3. I just need the x squared term with a power of a coefficient of 1. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3 here. These 3's are going to reduce to 1, and I'm going to be left with x squared minus 2/3 of x equivalent to negative 7 over 3. And so now the next step here is to complete the square on the left-hand side. And so I'm going to add some value to both sides so that I can have this completed square. Now remember, when you're trying to complete the square, whatever your x term's coefficient is, we're going to take half of it. So here on the one hand we have negative 2/3, and we're dividing this by 2. Remembering this is 2 over 1 because every number or constant is a rational number. So 2 divided by 1 is also 2. And here when we flip this, we're going to get a multiplication of 1/2. Now these 2's are going to cross reduce, and this becomes a 1, so does this, and we're just left with negative 1/3 times 1, which is just negative 1/3. So here is half of the middle term. All right? So what I'm going to do here to have the perfect square completed is I'm going to add half the middle term squared to both sides. So here I'm going to have x squared minus 2/3 of x plus negative 1/3 squared. I'm adding this to both sides of the equation to keep the equation balanced. And here I have negative 7/3 plus negative 1/3 squared. And now that I completed the square on the left-hand side, I'm looking at both square terms, and I'm taking these two and inserting them directly into the parentheses while keeping the sign of the half of the middle term. So here I'm going to just take one of the x's, because this is just an x being squared. And here I'm going to take the negative 1/3 and insert this inside the parentheses as well, as this is a perfect square. And then I'm going to just have this perfectly squared. And on the right hand side, I'm going to evaluate whatever I have left over. So here I have negative 7/3 plus this becomes negative 1/3 times negative 1/3, which gives me positive 1/9. Now we have some LCD work to do, but if we look close, pay attention real quick. We have x minus 1/3 squared on this side, and on this side we have the solution, the question, and here's our answer. All we have to do is evaluate this side. Now to complete the LCD here, the LCD being 9, as 3 can make 9, we're going to multiply this side, top and bottom, by 3. This is going to give me a negative 21 on top over 9 plus 1 over 9. This side stays the same. We have the x minus 1/3 to the power of 2. And when we combine these two, we get negative 20 over 9. And that is the solution for x minus 1/3 to the second power. Just negative 20 over 9.